Hello explorers! Today we're gonna look at my process of setting up SuperMicro servers, and I actually got 3 new SuperMicro servers donated to me, so they were free. So I had a lot of things that I wanted to set up. I wanted to look at the BIOS, I wanted to look at the IPMI, I wanted to run spin writes on them and so on, and look what kind of hardware I had. So let's start with looking into the hardware. So I got 3 new servers. So we have one up here, we have one that we are currently looking into here, and then I have one underneath as well. And they are, I think, identical in the case of what kind of platform it is, but they are a bit different when it comes to memory and other specs. So I don't really know what kind of hard drives is in here. These fans are very loud. And I found the model number down here. So these are SuperMicro X8DTUF. And they have an IPMI port up here. So let's see if I can get an angle on it. There we go. So this port down here is an IPMI, and then you have 2 USB. You have the normal keyboard and mouse over there, PS2, and then you have the normal VGA port for video, 2 extra ports here for network, and I believe that's it. One of the things here is that this has an extra card up here, so this has even faster networking. So I think that's a 10 gig card up there. And this is the one that has the most memory, so all memory bays are filled. So I think this one had 96 gigabytes of memory. So that's quite nice. And another nice part of this board is that you have all SATA ports down here. So it's 6 of them. So one goes to the CD-ROM, if you ever want to do that. And then each of these goes to the hard drives up here. So I could run a decent Ceph cluster on this. I have tried to put a card in here and run a SATA disk on the PCI bus, but that didn't work. And I even upgraded the BIOS and I didn't get it to work there either, which was a little bit of a bummer. So if I want to run this with another hard drive than the ones in the front here, then I probably need to run one of the SATA connections to somewhere here and mount an extra internal drive of some make and run it like that. But that should be fine. I haven't found any other SATA on the motherboard, so I don't think there is support for that either. But let's see. Let's boot it up here and run it. So I will connect some stuff here. Let's connect the VGA port. Let's connect a mouse and connect power over here. And we also want to, let's see if I can get the power in there. There we go. And then connect network to IPMI. And another point to remember is that you want to remove one of the power units. If you don't do that, it will beep incessantly at you because it realizes that it is missing one of the power units, and that is not good. You have pulled a cable and you need to replace that cable. But if you remove one of them, it's just fine, because then there is just one less unit. So let's see if we can get this running. Didn't I get it in there? Nothing. That's interesting. Why? Oh, yes, of course. The power cable needs to be in on the other side as well. You need to have power in both ends. So now it's actually blinking here. So you can see that we have network correction there. It's blinking. I think there should be one extra on the card that blinks as well when it's up and running. I've seen more. And if we want to make it a little bit less loud, we can actually put in the extra cover here. Let's see. So the cover will tone it down a bit, but not much. It's still very loud when it starts. So let's go. And the air coming out here is also pretty substantial. So now it's just starting up a little bit slowly, and we have nothing on the screen yet, but it will get up to speed here soon. Let's see if we can put this in a bit more like that. Yeah, it actually didn't go that hard on the fans. So the other one was louder. Oh, there we go. Here we have it. So this is the loud level. And we are into BIOS. And here we can go into advanced, we can go into IPMI, and we could set the LAN configuration. Here is one already set in static. I have a couple of other IP addresses that I prefer, so let's go with 168.006. Oh, and let's put you down there and angle you a bit up so you can see. And put the screen like that. So I need to press down another button in order to type here. 6 and 058 should be that one, and then we can do a gateway that is 192.168 0006.001. So now we have that configured here. And other than that, we could look at the main here and see that we are actually running SuperMicro 1.1.a. So this is a very old version of this BIOS. The latest one is 2.1Z or 2.1C, yes. And also the IPMI, let's see what did that say? 1.17, I believe there is 1.35 is the latest firmware there. So I haven't updated the firmware for that yet, so I need to download that package. And I'm also gonna run the SpinRite on all the drives and so on. But I think we can save and exit the changes here and actually turn off the machine like that. Let's see if I can get it off. Because what I want to do is fetch my USB drive. Let's see, I have it up here somewhere. I had it with me late earlier. So let's go back down here. Put that in, take the second USB here, put the drive in. Let's see if we can boot with that and get SpinRite up. Because I actually downloaded the BIOS firmware to, oh, let's see. Let's see if I can get this in a good angle like that, perhaps. No, that's not great. Let's continue using the server as support. There we go. So let's see if we can boot from the USB device. If I do need to select something there. Yeah, it's actually booting from the USB device. Now we are running SpinRite. And SpinRite, I could actually have it up and running and when it's doing its memory testing later on here, I can press escape to exit SpinRite, and then I get to the drive, and here I have already copied over the files for this BIOS, so X8 and so on. So here we have a couple of files. We have a BAT file for the actual flashing, and then we have the X8 DTU2.803 from SuperMicro's homepage. So these are the normal drivers. So we can start flashing the BIOS here. Let's see if it's gonna start here. So it double checks that you have the right one, and then it starts erasing the NBC, verifying the NBC. Then it goes on to erasing the flash. And during this process, don't touch anything. You don't want to lose power. You don't want to do anything, because this is something that could actually destroy your computer. So if this goes wrong, you need to flash it using tools, and that will be a lot harder. So you will probably not use this device anymore. I don't think there is any repair shop or anything like that that would take them in and actually do some changes for you. So here it's writing the new flash for the BIOS. It will also take a little while. So let's wait for that. So now everything is flashed and done. So let's reboot the computer and look at the BIOS and see that we get the latest version of the BIOS. Sadly, there is a great feature in IPMI where you can buy a license so you can flash the BIOS using the IPMI GUI. We'll look at that later on. Sadly, that license is not available to buy for this platform. So, and I think it wasn't that expensive either. I think it was like 29 USD. So I would actually want to buy that one if I had the option. So now we see that we are running the BIOS 2.1Z. So now we are up to the latest version of the BIOS. And that is one point that I usually do with these kind of machines when I get them. I get the latest BIOS, I get the latest firmware for IPMI, and so on, set up and running SpinRite on the machine. That will take a long time, but it's good to verify the hard drives when you get them and so on. So let's switch over to my computer and we will look at the IPMI interface as well. And now that we have looked at the hardware, I want to transition here and look at the interface of the SuperMicro IPMI. So this is a program that you download. In newer versions of IPMI, you can actually run the web interface and get a lot of functionality. But now when you're running older systems, you are not that lucky, sadly. So let's put in the IP that we put into this server when we're looking at it. So 58, and then I actually hear it in the background. So even though it's off at the moment, it's still doing its distinct sound. So there is something strange with those fans. The other server was dead silent when it was off. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. So let's see here. Open that up. The default password is admin. I don't think that this was changed on these servers. Or at least it was reset before I got it. So if we'll connect this one, we can look into the event log if there is anything that happened here. We can look into sensors. This will give us some information about the system at the moment. So currently there is no input voltage or anything like that. Fans are not running and so on. So that's very little information here. We could look at the IPMI device. We see here that we have the firmware version of
011701, which is quite old. We could look at the fan control, put that into standard, for instance. We could put in the boot options. We could power it on from here. We could look into BMC settings. So these are the IP address and so on that is set at the moment. So now we see here that we have the static IP address of 58. We could change that if we want from here. We could set an IPv6. We could look into general host name and so on set here. The users here, we could add another user if we want to have an anonymous user or anything like that. The text console here and the KVM console, these are for when we're actually running the server. So here we could, if you want, go in and let's turn power on. Are you sure you want to power on the system? Yes. Please wait a moment for the APC. And now you hear in the background here that we're starting to spin up and make a sound. So it's actually turning on at the moment just by looking into this or just using this interface here. And when it's turned on, we get even more information. Let's see if these kind of sensors change here. We get more information from the sensor data here. So on the other server, we got a lot of other information here about temperature and so on. It doesn't seem to update here. Refresh every 60 seconds. So refresh again and see if we get something. Still no data here. So with the paid license, you get more information. Now I actually have some output on the screen. So we can look at the text console here, see if we get anything. Let's start that and see. So doesn't say that much on the text console. Let's go to the KVM console, play that. Let's see if we see anything there. So I see a login screen over on my end there. Currently not seeing anything here. Yeah. But you should be able to do a bunch of things from here. Power off, power on, and so on. And with the paid license, you have even more options for managing your servers. So this is an interesting interface where you can do stuff with the machine without having it turned on even. Or you can turn it off in a graceful way and so on, power cycle and so on. So it's an interesting way of working with machines. I would like to get some more information here. Redirect and view started. Might be a bit slow, it's old machines, so we might not get the information we are seeking here. But as you see, there is possibilities here, even for old machines, to do some kind of management. Let's see if we can gracefully turn it off again. And I see that it's actually turning down the Linux machine behind me now. You see that the screen is going blank and now it's stopped. So even from further from the server, not even touching the controls, we can start and stop the server. So we have that up and running, we have that working. I haven't updated any system. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put a different drive as the system drive in the machine or not, or how I will actually use these machines. They were donated, so I have a possibility to do something with them. They will draw a bunch of power as well, and I don't really want to spend a large electricity bill on servers that I don't use, so I need to figure out a usage for them before I turn them on. But that was what I wanted to cover today. I hope that you found that interesting. I hope that you learned something today. Maybe you had never used the IPMI or looked into any of these kind of remote systems, so that might be interesting for you, or you're an expert at it and know even more than me, then please leave a comment about that in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and I really hope to see you in the next.